Hey Star Wars fans, I am the Blues Bro and I am making my very first lightsaber video. I am so excited to do this, but before I do, let me just give a huge shout out or a big thank you to the people that have been doing this for a while. The Lando Sabers of the world, the Nerf Herder Customs, the Solo Sabers, the Darth Ravens, Nerd Nest, YouTubers out there, the content creators. I thank you so much. You guys do such an amazing job, and I don't know how you do it. I sat here for hours trying to figure out how to set a light up and figure out how to get audio that sounded okay and something a little interesting in the background, and then I hit record on the camera and had to hit record another 26 times because I hated everything that I said. It's so hard to just talk to yourself and film a video like this, so I appreciate you. Thank you for what you do. One that I found recently was Gin and Tonic. He made a video about being new to the lightsaber community and talked about positivity in the community and how there can be like these lightsaber elitists out there and sometimes shun people for not having something as cool as they think that they should have. And anyway, his video really inspired me to make this and maybe try recording different videos and loading it to YouTube. And so thank you for doing what you do. I'm actually rocking his shirt right now. Thank you very much, Jake. This is Gin and Tonic's design. You can get this on his Etsy store. Just search Gin and Tonic on Etsy, Jinn, and he has some cool merch available. So awesome design, dude. Love it. But so anyway, I want to make my very first video on the I don't want to say first lightsaber I've gotten, but the most recent cool lightsaber I've gotten. The first one I had was your $30 Hasbro lightsaber from Walmart, and I loved it back then when I was a kid, and so I'm going to get into a little bit of a story here. My son recently discovered Star Wars. He's 7 years old, and he got one of those calendars where you get something every day, and it happened to be from his uncle. It was Star Wars Legos. So every day leading up to Christmas, he had some, a new figure or a new little ship or something to build. And when he opened it, he's like, "Dad, what is this?" And I said, "Well, it's Star Wars, buddy." He's like, "What's that?" I'm like, it has to do with space wars and magic. Like, how do you explain Star Wars, right? And he's like, "Well, I don't like that." I'm like, "Well, dude, maybe if you see it, why don't we check it out and see what you think?" And so anyway, we watch the first movie, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool!" And so he's turned into this mega fan, and he's got the Lego game, and he can give you any name of any character, these deep cuts to different characters that I might not even be able to name, and he can. It's crazy. But so anyway, him getting into this has really kind of rekindled the fire of my Star Wars fandom, back when I was a kid or, early teenager, back before the prequels came out. And then when the prequels came out, I remember dressing up as Obi-Wan and going to see the movie in the movie theater. And it just brought back such fond memories. And I always gravitated to lightsabers. I just thought that was like the coolest aspect of Star Wars, were these laser swords. And I remember probably 12, 13 years old, I don't recall, me and my buddy for the summer, like, we would go up to the hardware store and we would get these closet rails, like wooden dowels, and we would choreograph these lightsaber fights on a trampoline. It's probably super dangerous, but oh man, I remember having such fond memories of doing these lightsaber battles and things like that. And so anyway, all this nostalgia's come up, and I'm like, I want to get a lightsaber. I'm gonna go check out the internet and see what I find. And you go to Google and type in lightsaber, and I think Ultra Sabers or something is the first one that pops up. And when I saw it, I was just like floored. I was like, whoa, this is not the toy I had when I was a kid. This is something different. And so, got very excited, and I'm not the type to just go click buy. I'm glad I didn't. I'm the type to, go research a product, read some reviews, and make sure I'm getting something that I want to get that I think is going to be, good and quality. So I turned to YouTube to do some research. And I think the first channel that I really latched onto was Lightsabers. And, I forget the first video, not the first video he made, but the first one I saw, I believe it was on his Saber Trio, and he was going through some of the sound fonts he had on it. And, the first time he ignited the blade, and I heard the sound, and I heard the smooth swing, I felt like a 7-year-old again. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, how cool have these toys gotten? How, well, you can't say real because they're not real, but I mean, how realistic looking have these lightsabers gotten with the technology in these toys? And of course, I was like, I need more. I need all the content available. I need to go learn everything. That's just the type I am, a little obsessive, nerd, right? And so anyway, I watch all the content out there. Some of these guys do these live streams that have gone like 8-9 hours, and I've watched the whole thing, after work. Instead of turning on an episode of Friends or something, I'm going to YouTube and like, who's created some new content today to go check out. So I've, really dived in the deep end, and I've subscribed to all these channels and watched all their content. And on one of his videos, on one of Lando's, he did might have been a giveaway. But he showed on a screen a mystery box from Crimson Dawn, and I thought, okay, well, I'll go check that out, crimsondawn.com, and well, you know what? Why don't I just show you quick? There we go. So I went to Crimson Dawn, and I started looking through all of their different lightsabers, and I'm like, these are all super, super cool. And they got everything from, baselit to neocore to neopixel, proficore, and the prices seemed reasonable, and quality seemed good. I read other reviews, and so anyway, I thought, okay, this is going to be the place where I'm going to go get a lightsaber. And I'm looking at this mystery box, and seems very affordable. So anyway, it seemed like the right fit. This is where I think I'm going to go. And then I happened to notice they're an hour away from my house. And I'm like, okay, this is really working out now. I can actually just go drive there and hopefully, if they'll let me, go check this out and surprise my son and bring him there. So I call up Crimson Dawn, and Omega's like, oh yeah, that's super cool, dude. Just come on up. We'll be here. We're here all the time. So that's what we do. My kid gets out of school, and he's like, okay, I'm ready for the surprise, Dad. I'm like, okay, how would you like to go to a lightsaber factory? I know it's not a lightsaber factory, but that's what I told him. And he's like, what? And so he got super excited. We hopped in the car. We hit traffic. It took us like an hour and a half to get there. It was ridiculous. But we got there, and Omega and Shane were so cool. They were so cool with my son. They're showing him everything. They're showing him all the different hilts, and they brought out a couple NeoPixel, show us what those look like, and oh man, it was just this really super cool experience. And they even let him pick out a couple of parts, from different sabers and put it together, so he's got a different grip on his than what normally comes on it. So he's got like a custom hilt. But oh my gosh, it was just so cool how they just let him have free reign of the shop there for 15 minutes and let him build a lightsaber. And the coolest part about this story is this. So on the way home, my kid doesn't make a peep, right? He's in the back seat, and he's not saying anything, but I can hear the lightsaber, and the voices are changing on it, and I can hear the sound going up and down. I hear the blaster bolts going off, and I can see the lights in the ceiling of the car changing different colors, and he's just figuring everything about this. So on the way home, by the time we got home, he's got this thing completely figured out. He knows what every button does. And so anyway, he's been super quiet. And we get out of the car and he just says, Dad, keep in mind, he's 7. Very seriously, he says, Dad, I think that was the coolest place I've ever been in my whole life. and I was like, me too, buddy. That was so cool. I mean, it was one of those experiences that I'll never forget, and I hope he doesn't forget either. But so anyway, that was my 20-minute tangent on our trip to Crimson Dawn. So anyway, we went there, and I said, we just want 2 mystery boxes. I've seen everything on the site. I think everything's cool. I don't know how to pick something out. So you guys pick for us. And, because we were there, he was super cool. And he's like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And he showed me the Antares. And, I immediately gravitated to this one because it's silver and black. So it's dual tone. It's got a little bit of a window vent here for the light to shine through. And I loved the little elements that are kind of inspired from cannon hilts. Like these lines here that reminded me a bit of Obi-Wan or Luke Skywalker, Return of the Jedi, and this pommel, which is a little Obi-Wan-esque from Episode 1, Phantom Menace. So when I saw this one, I was like, yes, I like that. That would be awesome. So he gave me this one. So anyway, that's my story about Crimson Dawn. Super, super cool place. Great customer experience. Great customer support. They've been super cool. But let's talk about this lightsaber for a minute. So it comes in some different configurations. So you can get this in a baselit, or you can get this in a NeoPixel with a Profi soundboard, or a NeoPixel with a Profi soundboard that's in their Crimson configuration. So I'm sure anyone watching this probably knows, but just in case, I have like 3 subscribers. I'm sure 2 of which are my mom. So if you're watching, hi mom. But so baselit is when we have LED there. Put your blade on, the light goes into the blade, into the tube. Now a NeoPixel is when you actually have the LEDs in the blade, and you can do some really fancy blade styles and effects. So that's what a NeoPixel blade is, which is kind of a big price jump. So it wasn't exactly in my price range. So we were looking at baselit. My son has a V6. I have a Crimson Core, which I'm glad that we have the 2 different cores really worked out, because we have some different sounds and different soundtracks on our lightsabers. So, as opposed to everyone having the same thing and being kind of repetitive, I'm glad that we have 2 different kinds. But yeah, so that's the Antares, and let's talk about it, show it to you. So here's mine, and you'll see it's, if I get pretty close, you might see it's pretty heavily weathered. Can I say that? It's got some battle damage. We play with these things a lot. We play with them all the time. I've thought about, getting out the Dremel and the polishing brush and trying to make this super shiny again. But the more battle damaged it gets, the more I like it. So, I probably should have made a video on this right when we got it, but we've had them for like a little over a month. And, starting to get pretty weathered, but I love it. The way that it looks, I think it's perfect. So I want to show you some of the electronics on this. So keep in mind, this is the Crimson Core. Assuming that this video gets a couple views and I really, feel happy about it when I'm done, I'll make another video on my son's, but we'll see how it goes. But so I want to take you through the Crimson Core configuration a little bit. So the V6 comes with 6 soundtracks. The Crimson comes with 4, and I have to say I really do prefer the Crimson Core one. So let me play through those soundtracks real quick. One of the really cool things about this is this red illuminated button. Because it's a 1-button config, almost everything, well, everything works on here by holding it for so many seconds. So if you hold it for 1 second, it'll go into the sound settings where it goes softer sound, mute. Right, so now it's on mute. All right, and then I'll go 1 blink. Volume 11, I guess that's high. Volume 5, so that's our softer sound setting, which sounds better. I like the softer one. But let's go ahead and give this 3 blinks. 1, 2, 3. Don't you just love the Duel of the Fates? So that's first soundtrack on here. And you can't just turn the soundtrack off. You have to cycle through them all to turn it off. And then this is, I could be wrong, but I think this is from the arena in Attack of the Clones. Classic. And Imperial March, which is perfect. I mean, Duel of Fates and Imperial March, that's what you want on a lightsaber when you're, dueling with your 7-year-old, right? So that's the soundtracks on here. And then if you press and hold for 4 blinks, it'll cycle through the sound fonts. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got a Kylo Ren. And the thing that I think is, the way the blade looks on these are amazing, obviously, but the thing that I think is the coolest is the smooth swing. Now, on a Profi soundboard or a Crystal Focus 10 soundboard, there's some really fancy soundboards on there where the tiniest little movement, you get this smooth swing sound that's, just buttery and it sounds beautiful. But this is still a smooth swing. It's they call it Eco Smooth Swing. And maybe not this hot. I'll try another one.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Yeah, so smooth swing. Smoothish.
I'm a Jedi, like my father before me.
Just go through a couple others.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
Got a Darth Maul.
You have something I want.
Moff Gideon from Mandalorian. Really don't like that quote. It was fine in the show, but on a lightsaber, it just sounds funny. I don't know. We got Darksaber. Obi-Wan.
I'm Cal Kestis.
Cal Kestis, that's Jedi Fallen Order video game.
Rey Skywalker.
Rey Skywalker.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
And Vader, and I lost count how many sound fonts there are, but I believe that's the last one. So we'll leave it on Vader. So the let's get into the blade here and the blade styles. So I'll turn this off for a moment. And while I'm at it, let me talk about the blade for just 1 second. So this is a polycarbonate plastic blade that is extremely, extremely strong. Me and my kid have been dueling with these and dueling hard with them. We haven't broken one yet. I'm sure we will at some point. But we've really been hitting them hard, and we haven't broken one. We've maybe put I don't want to say dent in it, but maybe a blemish or scratch, whatever. But super, super strong. I have nightmares about the blade retention screws not being in tight enough and like having one go through a window or my TVs. But yeah, very, very, very strong blade. So they come standard with a 36-inch blade, which is super, super long. I believe in canon, like, you know, in the movies, they're 36 inches, but I mean, I'm 6'1", and 36 inches seems way too long. So I asked them, would you mind cutting mine down to 32? And they did. And I'm sure if you got it on the website, you could put that in the comments section or something of the order. But so they cut mine down to 32 inches. And then for my son, I asked them to cut it down to 26 inches because they said once you get down to 24 inches, it starts to look a little funny, like too much hilt, not enough blade. So they cut his down to 26, and that's what I have here. It's just a little easier to show it on camera. It takes up less space. But so it will come with some hex screws that are more flush, where you have to use like a Allen key to take the retention screw in and out. They also happen to have thrown in a couple of these thumb screws, which I like a lot more. I think it gives the saber a nice aesthetic, but it also is just really nice to be able to just go quick, you know, tighten it with your hand and not have to get the Allen key. But so we went through the sound fonts. Now I'll go through the blade styles. So 2 blinks. 1, 2.
Volatile blade.
Volatile blade. So I guess this would be like your Kylo Ren type blade, where it's a bit of like a strobe effect to it, right? And then we'll go 2 blinks.
Balanced blade.
Balanced blade. This reminds me of like the prequels or something, you know, just straight color, no blinkies. Now the 2 blinks.
Blinking blade.
I think he said blinking blade. I don't know. But this is like to me, it reminds me of that first time Luke turns on the lightsaber in the 1977 Star Wars A New Hope, where it's got just a bit of that flicker to it. So it happens to be my favorite. I'll leave it there. And then when the lightsaber's on, 2 blinks, 1, 2, you'll go into the color change mode. And I'll hold this up a little closer to my face. Maybe you can see it a little better. So we got kind of an ice blue going into a white. Going into a cyan, royal blue, purple, magenta, and red. We'll leave it at red because we're on a Darth Vader font, but goes every color. So, you know, every one of these lightsaber comes with every color. It's not like you have to pick one. And I've played with the camera. There's no good way to get it to show up. I apologize. I see red here, you know, with the naked eye, but I can see in the video, yeah, it looks white. But, you know, if I get it close to something, you can definitely see that there's some color coming off of it. But yeah, and then all of the different sound fonts have some quotes that'll play. So that's 3 blinks. So, you know, we got Obi-Wan on Obi-Wan and Moff Gideon on Moff Gideon and so on and so forth. So, video's getting super long. I don't want to go through all of those, but just know every sound font also has quotes that will play. So let's see, we covered soundtracks, sound fonts, blade styles. Yeah, I think that just about does it. So that is the Antares from Crimson Dawn. Super cool lightsaber. I love it. I hope that this video has some acceptance in the lightsaber community, and they're not just like, oh, another guy's making a lightsaber video. But assuming that people don't shun me right away saying, dude, just stop where you're at. I hope to make a couple more. I'm not doing it for anyone or for anything. I'm doing it for me. I think this is fun. So perhaps I'll do a video on my son's lightsaber, and then I want to switch the boards out because he really likes the Duel of the Fates. He wants that in his, so I'll probably do a video on how to switch the boards. But someday, Profi, blade styles, I want it all. I want to show that off. I just think it'd be so cool to go put some FET 263 blade styles on there and get some Kyberphonic and some K-Sith Basifons going on the lightsaber. So feel free to subscribe, and maybe you can see those videos if I make them. So thank you very much. May the Force be with you, and see you next time.